My name is Keith Miller, and I'm the general manager here at Rays Indoor Bike Park.
Can you tell us a little bit about how you got into Rays, the story of that?
Yeah, so I've been riding bikes for a super long time, and I was mostly a BMX race guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I would travel around the country doing races, and then the actual sanction that put on the races would hire me to come and do like announcing work, like at the races. So I would do like public address, and I would call the races. It was just something fun that I would do, but they would help me out with like race fees or something, you know, and I just did it because I loved to do it.
And you were passionate about it?
And I love riding bikes, and bikes kind of changed my life at a certain point in my life. So yeah, so I found out that this guy named Ray was building this bike park in Cleveland where I was living.
Very convenient.
Very convenient.
Yeah.
And I didn't know him. He was in the mountain bike world. I was in the BMX race world, but I was just starting to dabble a little bit in mountain bikes. Not seriously or anything, but just starting to transfer from BMX racing over to mountain bikes. So I found out he was building this place, and you know, we tried to find out where it was. So yeah, I was at a BMX race on the very first day he opened the doors. So I was a little bummed that I couldn't be here for the very first day he was open in 2004, but I've been here ever since.
That's great.
So,
has it always been this size, or have you guys added renovations?
No. Actually, where we're sitting right here next to this fireplace, right behind me, that wall back there was a total brick wall that went all the way to the other end. And the space that's in front of me actually was the original space, and that was all the space that it had. Yep. That was the original build. It was 66,000 square feet, which seems like a lot, but now that we have a whole lot more, we don't even know how we would even do it now if we only had 66,000. Yeah.
No, of course.
Yeah.
And was this always, like, was this just an open space not being used, or did you guys convert it from something else?
Well, you know, so if we go all the way back to the origin of the building itself was an industrial rayon corporation. And people were just using it as a warehouse for different things. For cardboard, for dyes for manufacturing, stamping equipment, anything. We found all kinds of crazy stuff in here, so who really knows what it was used for, but mostly just warehouse before we got here, yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. So when Ray first started the park, we wanted to do something that was very unique, that nobody else had. So we already had the indoor mountain bike park, which was unique on its own, but we wanted to take it to the next level, and that was to invite a lot of pro riders, pro mountain bike guys, to come in and do some sort of contest. So we would fly in all of the enthusiast media type people from Dirt Rag, from Mountain Bike Action magazine, from Decline magazine. All these guys would just come here, and they would be here during the contest and take pictures and stories and articles, and then we would get like 5 or 6 pages in these magazines because they had never seen anything like this before. So they didn't really they were like, yeah, we're going to Cleveland to do this mountain bike thing, which doesn't exist. Nobody says that. Nobody says, I'm going to Cleveland to go mountain biking.
Exactly, yeah.
Nobody does that. But the people in Cleveland, and not everybody is that outdoorsy to be able to go out in the middle of winter, whether it be Maine or Vermont or New York, or even as far south as like Philly or, you know, Virginia or something like that. Once it gets a certain temperature, people don't want to be outside. They want to be inside. So, you know, they come in here, and it is completely different than what anybody is expecting. I think most people come in here expect there to be a lot of dirt when they think mountain bike park. And they come in and they just see all the wood and the lights and stuff, and they're like, wow. Like it truly is like a sensation overload when people walk in the door. Another reason is like they came here to ride their bikes. Not necessarily to watch the pros ride, even though it was really cool, but they didn't travel from 5, 6, 7, 8 hours to watch someone else ride. They want to ride themselves. So we've kind of cut back a lot on some of the specialized type contests, and now we just do more of event type things. We only really have 2 events a year. One is Women's Weekend, which is our biggest, largest women-only event. Then we have our Old Fools event, which is guys and gals that are over 30 that still ride bikes. And it started as a Facebook page, but it's grown into something, so they have like a gathering here where people come from all over the country and they get together and they get to see who they've been talking to online. It's like a meeting place, but we have one weekend dedicated to that, and it's really super popular.
I just want to kind of end by, you were discussing earlier, and you don't have to, talk about this if you don't want to, but,
no, we can.
But you were talking about Ray and the founder and the horrible accident that happened. Would you mind, just going into a little bit about that?
Sure. So in September, Ray was riding outside, and it was just one of those freak accidents that happens like once in a blue moon, where just going around a corner, the tires slip out, and he hit a tree. And it was really a great thing that he was wearing a really good helmet. The helmet completely shattered, but unfortunately he broke some vertebrae in his neck, and it was a pretty bad break. So, fast forward to now, which is a little over 5 months later, he's been making a lot of progress. But unfortunately, because the break was so high on his neck, that he is still suffering from some paralysis. So, yeah, unfortunately, it's one of those deals where, if you know Ray and his story, that it's a horrible, horrible thing that happened to him, of all people, who built this wonderful thing for all these people. And then that happens, and we're just hopeful that he can get back on a bike again and come and join us here at the park. And the park will continue to be the park, and people will still come, and Ray will still be a very, very big part of the park. I mean, the guy's brain just works 24 hours a day, and that thing is going full tilt, bouncing off the rev limiter every day that his eyes are open, and that he is thinking about the park all the time. So I was just out today taking a bunch of pictures and gonna send it over to him and say, hey, we wanna do this, we think we should do this, and he's gonna give us direction. He's gonna come in here in the summer and wheel around and point fingers and say, do this and do that, and hey, fix this and fix that. And he's still a very vital part of the park. His brain is the most wonderful thing, that he is just so creative and such a visionary to be able to walk into an empty space and see things before they are there.
Pre-visualizes everything.
Is amazing. I mean, absolutely amazing. I mean, down to an inch here or an inch there, and being able to say, we're gonna need this much lumber for this and this much lumber for that. It's amazing. He's an amazing person. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I just came up with a hashtag as Ride for Ray as just a way for people who want to do a little more than just coming to the park and just paying their admission, which is more than what we could ask. I mean, it really is. People come in all the time and they say, what can I do? Is there anything that I can do? And I tell them, I say, well, you're here at the park, aren't you? You paid your admission to get in, and you rented a bike, and you're here and you're enjoying yourself, and this, that's your contribution, is being here, paying your admission, and showing your respect for what the guy built. So these are just an addition. These are just something that you would put on your bike or your helmet or maybe your car or something, and it just reminds you, to ride for Ray. So when you're down and out, and you're just like, oh, it's a crappy day, or I don't feel like riding,
You got that.
at least go out and ride for him.